Hello there, welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you here. I am Andy, and today we will continue with the reading of the book, What is Spiritism? From Mr. Allan Kardec. During our last reading, we were going through an exchange between Mr. Kardec and a person he calls a visitor. So let's continue. The visitor replies to Mr. Kardec. Nevertheless, there could be more interest in convincing me than you might think. Would you allow me to explain myself honestly and promise me that you won't be offended? These are my thoughts on the matter itself and not the person I am addressing. I can respect the person without having to share his opinion. Kardec replies, Spiritism has taught me to place little value on the petty susceptibilities of self-esteem and not to feel offended by mere words. I will conclude that you are an impolite person, that's all. As for myself, I prefer to leave others in their errors instead of sharing in them. So from that alone, you can see that Spiritism is good for something. As I have already stated, I have no intention of making you share my opinion. I respect yours if it is sincere, just as I want you to respect mine. Because you treat Spiritism as a hollow dream, you must have said to yourself on your way here, I am going to see a lunatic. Admit it, frankly, I won't be upset. That all spiritists are crazy is an established thing. Fine then, since you regard this as a mental illness, I would feel guilty in transmitting it to you, and I'm surprised that with such a thought in mind, you would seek to acquire a conviction that would place you amongst lunatics. If you were persuaded beforehand that you cannot be convinced, your effort is futile, since its only objective is curiosity. So I ask of you, let's be brief, because I do not have time to waste on pointless conversations. The visitor replies, but a person can be mistaken and deluded without being crazy because of it. Kardec says, to put it plainly, you are saying, like many others, that Spiritism is a fad whose time will pass. But you must agree that a fad, which has taken only a few years to win millions of adherents in every country, which includes learned individuals of every order amongst its followers, and which is spreading especially amongst the educated classes, is a peculiar mania that is worthy of a little examination. The visitor says, true, I do have my own ideas on the matter. However, they are not so unyielding that I would not be willing to sacrifice them to the evidence. That is why I say that you might have a certain interest in convincing me. I must confess that I plan to publish a book in which I propose to demonstrate ex professo what I regard as an error. The book would have far-reaching impact and deal a blow to the Spiritists, but if I were to be convinced otherwise, I won't publish it. Kardec says, I would feel awful if I were to deprive you of the profits from a book that must be so far-reaching. Besides, I have no interest in keeping you from publishing it. On the contrary, I hope it will be well received because it will serve to publicize and advertise us. When something is attacked, attention is drawn to it. There are a lot of people who like to see its pros and cons, and criticism makes it known to those who haven't even thought about it. That's why often, and without meaning to, publicity ends up benefiting those it was meant to harm. Moreover, the issue of spirits is so interesting and arouses so much curiosity that it is enough to merely draw attention to it, and people will want to examine it more profoundly.